Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. We have a Cardano breakout right on New Year's, on the first day of the year. You see Cardano pumping strong. And this is exactly what I've been saying before, is that Cardano throughout all this time was at support, right? So you do not wanna sell support, like I keep saying. And this support was confirmed here. It just broke out up. And if you look at the 4 hour chart, you'll notice that the bands are green again, signifying a bullish movement. But back to the daily, you'll notice that support was strong. Now you might ask, how would I see what support is? So support is usually the lowest point of the range, so which was originally around here, right? But the breakout of support, so breakout down, if it breaks if it breaks out down, means that you must have a daily close that's around 20% below the bottom of the range. Okay, so let's say this is your range from here to here. You take 20% of it, use the flip tool, you put it, let's say it's here. Once it closes below that, this is where you have confirmation of a breakout, obviously with high probability. There's always exceptions. But what we saw here is that, yes, we did have a close below this line, but it wasn't 20%. But even then, we had these wicks here that you could have used as the new bottom of the range, so as the new support. Okay, because support is not exactly just one point or one price on the chart. It's more of a area. Okay, so you can say that this was support, and support was confirmed. We never closed below that. We had a bunch of wicks, but we never closed below that, right? So this is a great example of how you do not want to sell support. Okay, keep that in mind. So with Cardano, what happened is that we had a strong impulse candle on the first day of the year, and now we're pushing back again. And what's interesting is that the first impulse candle was more because of XRP pumping. So it's been happening ever since the Cardano breakout, basically. So the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days were the main Cardano breakout on itself, and because of obviously the rumors that Charles Hoskinson is going to take part in the crypto policy. But then XRP became the strongest coin. So the two strongest coins, besides Bitcoin, obviously, ever since the election breakout, were Cardano and XRP. Okay, you had a bunch of meme coins doing weird stuff, but okay, but it's not like they have strong charts. They're just like meme coins that are going to zero very soon. Okay, so what happened is that XRP was the strongest one. If you look at the XRP chart, it rallied up until almost $3. So it made like from 50 to it around 5 to 6x, but Cardano only did like a 4x, right? And you'll notice that the XRP chart is stronger. The bands flip red only one day. Okay, so what does that mean for Cardano? So obviously look at the strong impulse here on XRP, which is the reason Cardano also had an impulse. So Cardano is like following XRP in its trends up, which it's not a bad thing because Cardano is also following Bitcoin, right? And XRP is also like kind of following Bitcoin, so Cardano is just following XRP, and which means it's following Bitcoin. Because what happened today so far is that you'll notice that on Wednesday the Bitcoin impulse wasn't strong, so Cardano went up because XRP went up because of all the rumors that it's going to be used in payments. I don't think it's in Switzerland or something. So XRP has a strong narrative, okay, but now after Bitcoin today is impulsing up until almost 97, Cardano and XRP are also following, which led to this catalyst for both coins, right? So what I want to talk about is, what does that mean for you as a investor or a trader? You have to remember that throughout all this phase, the only thing you had to do, you had two easy things to do, if you're just planning to play it simple, which were hold spot, so just don't sell, or do not get liquidated. So this strong leverage flush here liquidated a lot of people. All you had to do is just, if you didn't want to take the L and exit your trade, you could just add more money to avoid getting liquidated. Add your margin, and you're successful. Like we're back at we went back to 97 a few seconds earlier. We're at 96.5 now. That's really good. And what you need to understand is that this is all just normal accumulation. Okay, getting ready for the next leg. So historically, Q4 and Q1 are the strongest crypto quarters of the year. So we're done with Q4. Now it's Q1, and if we're following the 4 year cycle, you'll notice that Cardano in 4 years ago in 2021 had a huge Q1, especially in February though. So obviously we don't expect the same thing to happen, but when you want to look here, you'll notice that in January, again, right around the start of the year, so the Sunday before the first Monday of the year, same thing. You notice like it's really interesting. We rallied up on that Sunday from 17 cents up until 34. So we had a 100% increase in 4 days. Okay? But then we had accumulation for around a month where we had the strongest impulses from 34 up until almost a dollar. Okay? So Q1 is really promising, and yeah, it's up to you how much risk you want to take. Do you want to switch from spot to leverage? So ideally what you want to do is that the more up you go, the less leverage you want to use, right? Unless you're doing on this very small time frame, right? If you're like scalping or day trading, then you can use a lot of leverage because you want to follow the trend when you use a lot of leverage. Okay, so what I'm planning to do is that once we have a dip, I will switch from leverage to flush. So I would put a stop loss so that my margin trade will be exited, and then once it's exited, I'll just buy a spot, if that makes sense. Okay, so that's what I'm planning to do. Yeah. Now, does that mean you should just buy XRP instead of Cardano? Not necessarily, because Cardano has more room for price increase. Why? Because XRP is already at around 150 billion market cap. Okay, Cardano is only now at 35 billion. Okay, keep that in mind. Let me double check the XRP crypto cap. 137. Okay, so the Cardano crypto cap is at 33. So it requires less money to push Cardano's price a certain percentage. So you want to keep that in mind. The reason XRP also was able to be much stronger than Cardano, you want to keep in mind, like a lot of, and I've seen it a lot on the internet. They always say, oh, if you want to invest in altcoins, you always want to look for newer, shinier alts because yeah, they're new and like people are gonna be excited about them because people always trade things they don't understand. While that could be true, that works on the short term. On the long term, I'm not saying on the long term we should just buy old coins, right? Because like Litecoin, for example, it's a complete piece of trash, right? I'm talking about the strong projects, which strong cults, which actually have used like XRP and Cardano. The reason XRP was able to jump up even more, remember, in the last cycle, XRP had the lawsuit, which ruined its ability to go up, right? So if I look at the XRP USD chart, I go to the weekly, you'll notice that it wasn't able to break all-time highs because I think around, if I go to the monthly, actually, it'll be much easier to find it. I think around here, yeah, so we had a strong November, but December just fully retraced back because of the lawsuit. So this candle here really hurt XRP last cycle. Okay, so it wasn't able to go up. But again, the reason it's now stronger than Cardano because it's just been there for much longer. It's that simple. More people had exposure to it. More people are convinced that it's a good project. More people are willing. So what happened is that this what happened with both coins is that a lot of people were just dollar cost averaging throughout all these years, and now they are happy with the gains they are getting. So obviously DCA all these years, which leads to, if they keep holding, this would reduce the supply and then price would go up. So because XRP has been here for longer, it was able to push up stronger than Cardano. And when you look at the XRP divided by ADA chart, so if I look at this and let's make sure it's the same exchange, you'll notice that Cardano broke out first with the rumors and then XRP just rallied up, dragging Cardano with it. Okay, XRP is pumping now, $2.50. Oh no, sorry, that's the ratio. That's not the. That's not the. Sorry, because it is not a dollar yet. Hopefully soon. So yeah, so your plan is I'm just focusing on Cardano now, also because it's the coin I've been following the most, so I kind of understand the patterns that was happening. So what happened with Cardano and the crypto market in general is that here we had the Christmas and the New Year's break, so it was just low volume. You can notice here, low volume. Just normal accumulation at support, getting ready for the next leg of the bull market. There you go. And when you look at, now we can talk more about Bitcoin. You'll notice that Bitcoin stayed at support here, which is the minus 0.618 fib level from the previous trend, which had a top at the previous all-time high, 73. And it's really interesting. It was a quite interesting year in Bitcoin. So I do want to talk about what happened last year. So I can open the weekly, I guess. It's much better. Okay, this looks ugly. So let's just change. So what happened this year? And it's always better if you want to zoom out, okay? Zooming out, I think I have to go back to the Bitstamp one because I have the key dates in it. So I'm just gonna be forced to use the daily chart. And okay, what happened? So what happened in 2024 is that we were still living the announcement of the Bitcoin ETF from October, where we had a trend up from 30 up until around 48, which was around the ETF date, right? So we were trending up because of the ETF news. And obviously we had that day the issue of someone posting that the ETF is happening tomorrow, and apparently the account of the SEC was hacked, so price went up quickly, then it retraced back, then the ETF happened on the 11th. So there was a 1 day difference, obviously market manipulation, people took advantage of it. And the moment the ETFs happened, we had the sell the news event, right? So we went down from 46 to 38, I remember that. But then obviously because the ETFs were putting Wall Street in exposure to buying Bitcoin basically. So we were rallied up all the way to breaking the all-time high. So we reached the all-time high at 69, went down all the way to 59, and then broke all-time highs to reach the new all-time high of 73. After that, you'll notice that we had an 8-month range where we stayed within range all the way to the election day. So we topped on March. From March to November, we just stayed within a range. And this is important because cause and effect, right? The longer the range, the stronger the breakout is going to be after. Okay? So you want to keep that in mind. Keep in mind that the longer the range, the stronger the breakout. And that's what happened. We broke out at 73 and then pushed up until the 108, right? So we had a 50% breakout after the all-time high. And I want to talk about it from the replay mode perspective because you'll notice throughout all this time. Do we have a question? Let me see. Is there a question in the chat? No. Okay, let's continue. So, I want to look at it from the replay mode perspective because what you notice throughout all these 8-month range is that Bitcoin was able to hold the range despite all the negative sentiments that were present there. So we had, I think back in April, I think here, we had the whole Iran-Israel thing, and then there was a big people freaking out, and that led to this big dip, right? And then you'll notice that we had a bunch of events. We had the Mt. Gox selling. I don't remember where. I think it was here back in May, right? So we stayed within range, and then a lot of negative sentiment stuff happened. Somewhere here, I think there was these big fears of recession for because of some data that was shown. So, but you'll notice that the range kept holding. We did not break down all the way back to 40. Okay, so we just kept going up, and then back in August 4, 5, 6, we had the Japanese carry trade crash, which led to the crash of everything. The stock market like freaked out. Nvidia went all the way to 90. And you'll notice a few days later we traced back. And so we did get out of range, but it was just a false breakout as we just moved back in. Right? And yeah, you'll notice here that we had the ETH ETF, so the Bitcoin conference when Trump said he was gonna fire Gani Gensler if he's elected. So these were all bullish catalysts, but you'll notice that these are not from narrative perspective as strong as the previous ones. But still, this tells us that the price is strong because it only required a small positive narrative to just push back up. So this was the retest of this trade, of this crash here. And then we just kept rallying up. We could have rallied up faster. Here we had you'll notice here, for example, that as the ETFs were accumulating Bitcoin, it was reducing the supply, which was making Bitcoin stronger. And it was clear here because here again we had this whole Iran-Israel thing, and still we did not crash that much. We just had a strong support at 60, and this was the bottom. Okay, this is it. And then when the election day came, boom, breakout. Okay, so if you don't want to risk it and get into, if you do not want to get into alts, then Bitcoin is going to be really promising this year. Okay, remember, you can always dollar cost averaging if you don't know when to get in. The whole idea of the Bitcoin reserve is it's strong. It requires a lot of process though to go through Congress and all of that, but Bitcoin doesn't need that to just go up. Its tokenomics in itself are enough to push the price higher. We are in Q1 now. Yeah, so after the breakout, let me just finish, I guess, the yearly analysis. We went all the way to 108, and now we traced back a little bit because of the holidays. We had the small negative sentiment because of the FOMC meeting, this whole inflation thing. But you'll notice that we're just pushing back up. We did have a quiet phase here because again, the holidays, but what was happening here, I think, is just a front running of the ETFs. Because if I look at the Bitcoin ETFs, you'll notice that we had kind of a lot of selling towards the end of the year because of like whatever tax reasons and all of that. But right now, the pushes that we are having are just front running of the ETFs that are coming tomorrow. Okay? So this is important because it just seems that we're just gonna keep going up. Okay? Like we had a lot of selling here. We have whatever billion and a half selling. It's not gonna take. It's probably gonna take a couple of days for the ETFs to just absorb that again and just push back up again. Okay, so tax reasons led to the small dip, and let me look at the 4 hour chart. Yeah, the 4 hour chart is bullish. Okay, we have the green candles, green bands again. So very promising here for Bitcoin. Keep in mind that just don't get too. Well, what matters is not just you making money. What also matters is you keeping it at the end of the cycle. Okay, because as we get closer to the top, which if the 4 year cycle is consistent, so the top has always been every 4 years around December. So uh, 2013, 2017, 2021, and now 2025, around December or November is where usually the top is. Lots of euphoria. Everyone thinks they are a genius, but you have to be careful. Do not get too greedy because you want to keep that money you make. You don't want to just lose it at the end, because in the end there's gonna be winners and there's gonna be losers. So keep that in mind. Okay. I think that's it. Yeah, nothing much to say for this year. Q1 very promising. We have Trump getting inaugurated on the 20th and 21st. He picked Scott Bessent for Treasury Secretary. He's a very Wall Street guy. This is very bullish catalyst. The Republicans usually like low interest rates. Will he pressure Powell to reduce interest rates? We'll see how that would go because he doesn't have a lot of say in it. And we will see how that will go. Thank you for everyone. Feel free to always put your questions in the chat, and I'm always ready to answer. And I guess that's it. You have a good one.